We're at the halfway point of 2018, so now's a great time to look back at the first 6 months. There have been a lot of really good game releases, but also quite a few terrible ones. In this video, we're going to take a look at the very worst video games that came out up until now. Here are 10 bad video games you should avoid.
Maybe we should go look for a
Hey girls,
place.
sorry, excuse me. Can you help me with something really quickly? Yes, okay, good. Right, what it is tomorrow's my best friend's birthday. And
Do you remember the time in the late 2000s when every guy was learning how to be a pickup artist? Well, now you can experience that all over again with the PC game Super Seducer. This game is a live-action seduction simulator. However, the tactics you learn from this British self-proclaimed master of seduction seem hopelessly dated and kind of creepy in 2018.
Hey, excuse me, can I tell you something really quickly?
Sure.
I just saw you and wanted to let you know that you look really elegant. I love that skirt as well, it's really summery.
Thank you.
It's a boring piece of software that honestly doesn't need to exist in today's world.
Moi? Awkward?
Yes.
Let me tell you something about that.
What? What's that?
Who's awkward now, eh?
Teacher!
We were kind of hyped when we learnt that Fear Effect was getting a sequel. However, Fear Effect Sedna had none of the elements that made the original fun to play. They changed the camera to an isometric perspective, and the stealth gameplay is just very frustrating. The game does have nice-looking cutscenes, but those are ruined by the horrible voice acting.
Come on, mate.
Mate? Shit. Glass?
I was invited.
So long. I'd say I'm happy to see you, but you working?
Looks like you'll have to tell, mate.
Everything about this sequel feels cheap and poorly designed. Nobody would give this game a second look if it didn't have the Fear Effect name attached to it. We all had the feeling that Metal Gear Survive was probably going to suck. How could Konami continue this epic franchise without Kojima? Well, it turns out they couldn't, as they produced a soulless husk of a game. Metal Gear Survive is just another survival game full of microtransactions.
I detect that you're hungry. Your mission requires that you look after yourself, Captain.
The gameplay is decent, but its story is so dull that it doesn't deserve to carry the Metal Gear name. We hope Konami sticks to remaking older games in the franchise, because they simply aren't capable of producing a good sequel without Kojima.
Wow! Now this talking machine? Are you kidding me? This is the craziest dream ever!
The developers promised us a gruesome trip to hell when they were promoting Agony. Well, if they meant to put gamers through hell by making them play a boring game, they certainly succeeded. If you take away the shocking visuals, there's almost nothing here. You're performing the same tasks over and over again until it starts to feel like torture. The gameplay is just way too repetitive that it overshadows any potential it might have had. Agony is true to its name, a hellish experience. Scribblenauts is a pretty fun series that's all about being creative with words. That's all thrown out the window in Scribblenauts Showdown. This game was made by a different developer and it shows. They produced a generic party game that you're supposed to play with friends. The 25 minigames are incredibly shallow and most of them have nothing to do with creative writing. It's like the developer didn't understand what made Scribblenauts great in the first place. Scribblenauts Showdown is an absolute low point in the franchise. The success of the Nintendo Switch means it's rapidly turning into a dumping ground for bad games. Take the release of Fantasy Hero Unsigned Legacy, for example. This is a port of a mediocre PlayStation Vita title from 2014. This Japanese role-playing game looks bad on the Switch, and the gameplay is nothing more than soulless grinding.
Yahoo, Agony! 今日の剣術の稽古はもう終わった？
よーリリー、こんなご時世だし。
The story is full of cliches, and you'll soon be wondering why you spent money on this product in the first place. There are many good role-playing games on the Switch, which means this thing really doesn't need to exist. Past Cure is sold as a dark psychological thriller that blurs the lines between dreams and reality. Unfortunately, it only manages to blur the lines between boredom and frustration. The development team of just 8 people clearly bit off a bit more than they could chew with this ambitious title. It's so buggy that it makes Deadly Premonition look like a polished masterpiece. The game tries to combine action with horror and puzzles, but fails in everything it attempts to do. It's hard to take Past Cure seriously when the voice acting and animations are this bad.
L.I.V. Live. The owner's name, perhaps? Or the teddies?
The whole gaming world is waiting on the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. So why not play a Western-themed online game in the meantime? Unfortunately, Wild West Online is about as interesting as walking through a desert. There's almost nothing to do in this online game, and it doesn't even have a story. It does have lots of microtransactions and repetitive missions. Wild West Online feels unfinished and not ready for the public. It's kind of shameful that the developer is asking $30 for an empty online world. Hollow is a first-person horror game for the Nintendo Switch that really looks like a budget title. The gameplay is a complete mess as you move incredibly slowly through a space station. Every once in a while you need to shoot at something or carry an object from A to B. The story is generic and mostly told through audio logs and badly written notes.
I have bad feeling about this.
Hollow is a walking simulator that follows the rules of horror without actually understanding any of them. In space, nobody can hear you sigh from boredom.
Just shut up. Don't even think about saying that. I'm done. I've already said what I needed to say. No.
Get to cover, Bravo team. I can see what you see, even if I can't hear you. Right now, you need to get moving. You need to find cover and fast.
PlayStation VR owners desperate for content might have picked up Bravo Team, and after about 5 minutes of playing, they instantly regretted their purchase. We really expected more from Supermassive Games, who gave us the excellent Until Dawn Rush of Blood. Bravo Team was heavily marketed by Sony, but really can't live up to the expectations. The camera is terrible, which is unacceptable in a virtual reality game. The shooting is very underwhelming, and so is the small selection of weapons at your disposal. Bravo Team really feels like it was made by the B team of Supermassive Games. There you have it, the 10 worst games of 2018 up until now. How many of these crappy titles did you play? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Girls, do you like psychology tests? Things like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we can try.
Well, who doesn't? Come on.
I don't know, it's interesting.
Of course it is.
Yeah.